Hi, Vivian.
All right, ladies, welcome to the monthly Power Girls session where we bring somebody in who has something to offer for us, for our businesses, for our lives, and just something to give us motivation, how to's. And our guest today is Vivian Yip, and she is from Austin, Texas. She is going to talk to us. I'm going to let you go ahead and explain all of the stuff that you do, Vivian. So thank you so much for being our guest today in the Power Girls group. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to spotlight you really quick. So that's it. So Vivian, yep, I'm going to let you go ahead, and I'm going to also allow you to share the screen. Did you have slides that you want to share?
I do, yeah. I would love to share some
Great.
slides.
There you go. You have.
Dawn, Mary, Jen, thank you so much for having me today. I'm really excited to be here. I feel so privileged to be part of the Power Girls group. I am so much into empowering women. I actually run Invest Her here in Austin, Texas. There's also several chapters in the Florida market, as well as in San Antonio and Dallas and Houston. So, I love working with other women because we have a gift that a lot of men don't have, and that's the ability to multitask, be resilient, and all these different things. So today I wanted to kind of share with you my story and what I do and how I can help your business as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yep. So I'm a realtor here, also here in Austin, Texas. You can see my screen now, right? Yeah, perfect. So I'm a realtor here in Austin, Texas. I also have a property management company. We specialize in something called midterm rentals. And what I'm finding is a lot of people don't know what midterm rentals are. So I'm going to teach you a little bit about midterm rentals today and kind of how it's helped me build some semi-passive income so that I could also build my personal wealth and have generational wealth for my children as well. So just really quickly, before I begin, if there's ever a time you doubt yourself, I want you to take a screenshot of this. I stole this from someone else's presentation, and it says someone with half of your IQ is making 10 times as you because you aren't smart enough, or they aren't smart enough to doubt themselves. Okay? So if there's ever a time you want to pursue something, think about it for a little while. Think about your strategy and don't doubt yourself, because there's people out there that don't doubt themselves and they do amazing things. So just a little bit about me. I founded my own platform called Corporate Rentals USA by Hestia. Hestia is the trusted brand of midterm rentals. My previous background comes from Apple. I was there for almost 7 years. I was a program manager. I launched the iPhone 12. I won 2 times an award there for innovation. I'm a mom. I have two very smelly teenagers. One is 13 and one is 12. And I have about 18 properties under my property management company now. We specifically deal with midterm rentals. And my husband and I basically flipped out of our corporate jobs by doing house flipping. So we've done over 30 properties in 6 years, and we learned to keep properties over time. And I'm a licensed realtor, and I also teach a course in continuing education for the Texas Real Estate Commission on midterm rentals. And it's a very, very important strategy for a lot of you guys to know. And I'll kind of tell you why and what midterm rentals are. But let's take you back to April of 2018. There was a time when I used to have hair. I used to work at Apple, and I was just done with the corporate rat race. The corporate rat race was, it was fun, and because I was challenged and I worked with some really, really talented people, but I found myself in the rat race. Robert Kiyosaki talks about this rat race, and that's like waking up, going to work, getting burnt out, coming home, making dinner, doing the dishes, doing laundry, putting the kids to bed, and it's like the same cycle over and over again. And they say that if you want to change your life, you have to change your habits. And I thought to myself, do I want this life for the rest of my career? And I said, no, that's not what I want. I want to do something different. So my husband and I decided that we would give flipping houses a try. So this is a picture of my kids when they were young, and they're helping us rip out the laminate flooring on our very first flip. And we made a whopping $9,000 in our first flip, which is not very much money. But the education and the experience that we got in that 5 months really gave us a lot of energy to keep trying. So that same year, we flipped 6 more properties. And here we are today with a portfolio of 9 doors, all in Austin, Texas, and building a passive income. So I'll share more on that later. So, but 2020 was a great time for the most part. I've always been the work hard, play harder kind of person. And, working in supply chain and operations, I was able to travel to China. I traveled to Hong Kong. Apple stock was crushing it. We were, doing a stock split because things were so successful. And I was doing the iPhone launch, right? I did iPhone 10, iPhone 11, iPhone 12. And this is a picture of my team winning an award for, finding a process for dealing with obsolete inventory. I know it's boring, geeky stuff, but I was a team lead and we won iPad, the first iPad that came out. But all that came crashing down. That came crashing down in around November of 2020. I found myself so stressed out. So if you think about March 16th, that was when the world seemingly shut down with the pandemic. And with my job in operations and supply chain, our team was responsible for moving, iPhones from the factory all the way to the guest's hands, or to the owner's hands. And anybody that's an Apple fan will know that if Apple promises you that you're getting your iPhone on October the 10th, you better damn believe you're going to get it on October 10th. So that's the kind of stress that my team had to go through to get through every obstacle during the pandemic to get that phone in your hands. And unfortunately, that's a photo of me where I lost all my hair in about 8 weeks. So today I've been diagnosed with alopecia, and it's alopecia universalis. So I have no body hair. I wish I knew that before I got laser surgery or laser on my arms and stuff. But that is what happened to me, and that why I don't have any hair. So on January 2nd, I took a medical leave and I thought, I'm going to stop looking in the mirror, because looking in the mirror, I couldn't recognize the monster that I'd become. I couldn't see how I had let myself get to the point of such stress that I became and got the look that I did. So instead of looking in the mirror, because looking in the mirror gave me a lot of negative energy, I decided to put my energy towards something I enjoyed doing. And this newfound love of real estate for me was flipping houses. So I literally put my head down and I looked at real estate during my medical leave and just studied the hell out of real estate. And if there's anybody says, what is law of attraction? This is exactly what law of attraction is, because when you put your head down and you put your focus towards something, things will come to you. So that year in 2021, when I decided to focus on real estate, we bought a new primary home. We ended up buying a duplex. We bought a townhouse. We bought a single family home. These are all properties we were able to buy off market. And we took the funds from flipping houses and then we reinvested them into these properties. And just in that year alone, we were able to 7x our net worth. And I always knew that having a job at Apple was actually keeping me from my full potential in real estate. And I was really excited that I could prove that, because there's no way I could have 7x my net worth from working in a full-time job. So by April of 2021, I waited for my stocks to vest, and they vest every year in the spring. And I quit my job. And all that time I thought I failed. I'm not the kind of person that quits really easily, but I thought I failed because, in Apple, when you're launching a product, you're basically paired up with someone else as a pod. And when I quit, my manager said, the other guy quit yesterday. And I was like, really? He quit? So I called him and he said, yeah, I couldn't do it anymore. It killed me. So I was so relieved that I didn't fail, or I didn't feel like I failed. And at the end of the day, Apple still functions. So for any of you that are still in a corporate job, you don't need to believe that the company cannot survive without you, because they can, right? They've got processes in place for them to be able to survive with or without you. So do what you need to do to make you happy. So on April 21st, I fulfilled my dream of quitting my job. and never asking for another day off. So this is a photo of my husband and I. We went to Napa Valley. We rented a Porsche 911 and we just drove through the countryside and drank a bunch of wine. It was really great. So how did I get into midterm rentals? It was actually a mistake. This is my first short-term rental. On our 6th flip, I decided that I was going to try and pursue this flip all by myself. That was a little bit of a mistake because my husband had to come back and help me finish some of it because I could not get through to the contractors. Was tired of getting mansplained. And at the end of the day, they did a few things that were done incorrectly that my husband had to come and help me fix. But as you can see, I had 4.9591 reviews, 53 reviews, and this was in July of 2019. And we all know what happened in March of 2020. And if you've been running Airbnb since then, many people have not. But what Airbnb was doing at that time was they were canceling reservations on behalf of hosts. So even if you had a strict cancellation policy, they would cancel your reservation because maybe the guest couldn't get on a plane, or maybe they didn't feel well, or maybe they didn't feel safe. And that was when I realized how exposed my business was by relying on one online travel agency to keep my revenue. So I called a friend of mine in San Diego and I said, what should I do? How do I pivot out of this? How do I make sure that Airbnb is not controlling my revenue? And he said, you know what? Try 30-day stays. I didn't even know it was a thing, which is weird because I actually stayed in corporate rentals as a kid. And I've also transferred 2 jobs where they put me in a corporate rental. I don't know why I never put 2 and 2 together. So I listened to him and I ended up hosting a family for 3 months. They were from California, building a house, and they stayed for 3 months. And then after that, I had a construction team stay for 7 months. And the cool part is long-term rent on this property was about $1,550 per month. The first guest that stayed for 3 months, they paid $3,800 a month. And then the construction team, they paid $3,100 or $3,200 a month. And I gave them a deal because they were staying for so long, but they also agreed to do the lawn care, which, saves me like $100 a month during the summer. So that is when I found the secret to cash flowing in an expensive place like Austin. So 30-day stays, I was like, way less work. No longer do I have to chase cleaners every weekend. I'm not replenishing toilet paper or paper towels or laundry detergent or dish soap. Basically, I kind of set it and forget it. I would check in with them once a month to see if everything's okay. And I realized like how much I loved it because I was still in the hospitality space. By the way, I did work in a hotel when I was younger. And I could still provide a beautiful furnished rental. I could take advantage of appreciation of the property, depreciation, tax exemptions, all this kind of stuff, and cash flow. But I needed to find a way to have income or money because I quit my job. So I sold this property and I reinvested it into the properties that I talked about earlier on. So these are my 6 midterm rentals, and I'm not showing any of the ones from my property management company, but this is the cash flow that I see every year. On these 6 properties, I get over 85% occupancy. In fact, I think I'm closer to 90% right now, and it's semi-passive. What would your life look like if you could invest your money into real estate and then also semi-passively cash flow? And I say semi-passive because there is some work that's involved in the business. I know that this is inspiring to a lot of my corporate friends because my friends at Apple are all like, can I chat with you about real estate? Because I want to know how you did it. How did you leave a 6-figure job and be able to survive? Like, I've not been working at Apple for 3 years now, and this is how I did it. So why are midterm rentals important? If you think about what happened in 2022, 2021, interest rates were low. Everybody and their mother and their aunt and their grandma and their sister and their brother decided to get into the STR game, thinking that it might be amazing to get an Airbnb and cash flow, right? But the problem is that segment or that strategy is dying in many, many places. Unless you have a mountain house, unless you have an oceanfront property, unless you have a lake property, a lot of these boring short-term rentals mean nothing anymore. A lot of people are going back to hotels. You've heard the Airbnb bust. This is a real thing. It's happening everywhere. And you guys as realtors probably hear it everywhere. Facebook groups, everything, right? So why are they important? Because STRs, short-term rentals, Airbnbs, they're highly saturated. Regulations are changing everywhere, right? Look what's happening in Dallas. Dallas, they finally got their ordinance extended, but in June, all short-term rentals could potentially be banned. So what happens? What's going to happen to those properties? Short-term rentals, they've already invested in the furniture. They already have their Airbnb reviews. They might not want to turn back into a long-term rental. So logically speaking, a midterm rental might be a really good option for them to pivot, because that's how I pivoted my business. But what happens if midterm rentals also become saturated, right? This is still a secret. Most people I talk to, and I talk to a lot of people, most of them still don't know what a midterm rental is. So now you guys do, though. So what does it mean to buy a midterm rental? I want every realtor to know what makes a good midterm rental. So take a moment and screenshot this. And how I know this is a good midterm rental buy box is because my company, we get requests from insurance companies all the time. And I'll talk about that in a second on what people are looking for when they're trying to find temporary housing. So number one, lower level primary suite. Why is this important? If you think about the general population as a whole, 10,000 people every single day in the US are turning 60. 10,000 people. So you need to make sure that not only on an exit strategy, but for your midterm rental, I get maybe at least 50% of my requests come in for a lower level primary suite. It's okay if it's a 2-story house. Make sure you have make sure you have a bedroom downstairs and a bathroom. Even better if it's a step-in shower, okay? Fenced-in yard. Almost every request that comes in for housing is relocating with their pets. From a purchasing standpoint, you want to make sure you're getting a house with a less than 15-year roof age. That's just for insurance purposes and how they price out your claims. You want to get a less old water heater, HVAC. Those are getting really expensive. So, try and get something new. I've never touched a foundation issue in the 30 flips we've done, but that's just a personal preference. Yeah, but look out for foundation problems. Look for newer windows. Buy in non-HOA. I know in some areas like Houston might be harder, but if you can find a place with no HOA, the best, because terms change, fees change, you lose control much easier with HOAs. And given that most people travel with pets, I recommend hard floors. That's not to say carpets are bad or anything like that, but the maintenance on hard floors is a lot better, a lot more durable. Okay. Now, in terms of distance from major hospitals, employers, and highway arteries. Okay, you think about A and B grade properties. That's where I like to be, because I get calls all the time like, oh, my property is in somewhere in the middle of Michigan. Would it make a good midterm rental? No. If there's no jobs out there, probably not. You can't, you have to be in great urban locations or great suburban locations. So, make sure you stick to that location model. And you want to pick an area that has less renters to homeowner ratio. Okay, and this is important for the insurance strategy, which I'm going to talk about in a moment. Have a great elementary school rating, have a great middle school rating. High school, not so important because, the older kids have a way to transport themselves usually, but, be close to elementary schools and have great ratings. That's always good. And always buy with an exit strategy. Okay. My husband and I, we have a philosophy that if it cannot be solved with money, it's not a problem. Sorry, if it can be solved with problem, I have to start this all over again. If it can be solved with money, it's not a problem. What that means is if you need a fence, you can solve that with money. So make sure that's in the budget. If you need a new water heater, make sure that's in the budget. The things you can't solve are bad neighbors, super annoying barking dogs, or traffic noise, or, there's things that you can't solve. So as long as you can solve with money, make sure it's in the budget and solve it. But always buy with an exit strategy. We have made the mistake before of buying a home next to a very, very busy street, and it took us a lot longer to sell it, and we also sold it for a lot less money. All right, so let's talk about insurance strategy. Everyone's like, what is this insurance strategy? Well, people talk about travel nurses all the time. Jennifer, have you heard about people talking about travel nurses?
Yes, I have.
Okay, I'm going to tell you right now, travel nurses is not where the money's at because COVID money is dried up. Okay, those travel nurses made tons of money during COVID. Okay, because there were stipends for that. There were government programs supporting that. All that money's dried up. And in fact, I host travel nurses in my studio that's at my house. And he was telling me recently that like most of the hospitals are going back to local contracts. These travel contracts are all drying up. So how do you pivot from there? You need to understand what the insurance strategy is. So a lot of people I talk to, they do come from single family homes. If your home were to experience a flood, fire, water damage, maybe you had a tree come through your roof, suddenly you find yourself having to move out of your house, the first place the insurance company is going to put you in is a hotel. That makes reasonable sense because it is available inventory. But the next step is you're going to have to try and find temporary housing for your family. Maybe you have 3 kids, maybe you have 2 dogs and a cat. You don't want to be in an apartment if you live in a single family home. You don't want to be in a condominium building. You probably want to be in a single family home with a fenced backyard like you came from. So I'll give you an example of the properties that I've rented out. And this is just a small examples. So this house is my property in Leander, Texas. When I was only on Airbnb and only on VRBO, I was getting a maximum rent of $3,500 to $4,800 per month. When I rent to insurance companies, they pay me $6,170 per month. Okay, I'm actually on my 6th. I'm about to host my 6th month. So that is just one example. The next one is in Georgetown, Texas. This property was renting for about $4,500 per month on Airbnb. And then we get direct bookings from insurance, and I get the owner $7,175 for 3 months.
Wow.
Okay, that's huge surplus, right? Now in Lakeway, this host was only getting about $6,200 per month, and she was posted on MLS. When her insurance contract came in, they stayed for $9,600 a month for 2 months. If this sounds awesome, please put a 1 in the chat. Is anybody excited? Because I know how excited I was when I discovered it, right? So this is a secret, guys. Nobody knows about midterm rentals and who they serve. So there's a way to get insurance requests. Usually if you put your property on Zillow, or if you put your property on a company called alesolutions.com or CRS Temporary Housing, they're going to send you an inquiry, and then you're going to send them a proposal. And then one of 5 things happens. They'll ghost you, or the client found their own place, or your place was out of budget, or they didn't like it because it was too far away from their house, or maybe they have 3 cars and you only have parking for 2, or the adjuster is just super delayed in responding to you. Okay, whatever it is, if you get past and get to the property tour part, very likely you're 90% there. And then as they say yes, all the paperwork gets done, lease documentation. This is guaranteed government money. Okay, like that kind of money is guaranteed, but they overnight you a check and they move in. It's that simple. Okay, so that's kind of where I was like getting enough requests for insurance housing because I had my 6 midterm rentals. I now have my property management company. They kept coming to me for more houses. They're like, well, do we have another property in South Austin? Oh, what about New Braunfels? What about Dallas? What about Chicago? And that's when I thought, you know what? I'm going to bring everybody that has a beautiful property, that has great hospitality. I'm going to bring them under one brand. And so I created the brand Hestia. Hestia is the Greek goddess of hospitality, hearth, and home. So these are examples of the beautiful homes that we have under the Hestia brand. We have about 170 properties now. We keep growing. There's a lot of excitement in this space to be part of, like, it's like a country club, right? We're all elite, not elite, they're all really nice properties with great hospitality. So if you know somebody, again, take a picture of this, please. If you know somebody that wants to get automatically matched through our system, scan this QR code and they can input their property in our database. And as soon as we get a housing match, they will get a text message and says, your property has shown up in a match. Okay. If you scanned my QR code, put 2 in the chat. It doesn't cost anything to be here, but it'll cost money if we book you, but we'll work with you. Okay. So again, the requirements to be a Hestia home is to have 4.8 star reviews on Airbnb and a minimum 1 year of hosting experience. Why is this important? Because there's a lot of bad hosts out there. There's also a lot of ugly hosts, ugly properties out there. And I want to make sure that the host has enough experience to respond to issues. This is, at the end of the day, a hospitality experience, right? We're not just renting a property and be like, hey, thanks for your check, see ya. You want to be responsive. If the dishwasher breaks, 24 hours is the acceptable amount of time for it to get fixed. Your regular landlord that does, long-term rentals, they might not care. They'll be like, oh, I'll fix it in 5 days when I have a chance. No, I want the best hosts to be in this business, to be under the Hestia brand. So where can you put your listing? If you have a furnished rental, maybe you have a short-term rental, there's places you can put it. MLS. For some reason, a lot of realtors are like, what? You can put furnished rentals in the MLS? Of course you can. I typically give them a $200 referral fee if a realtor brings me a lead and they sign for at least 3 months. Okay. I know 200 bucks is not a lot, but at the end of the day, the realtor is just helping a client bridge a gap in their stay. And oftentimes that client will use them either for sale or for purchase. Reach out to realtors that specialize in your property's neighborhood. You can find relocation specialist realtors. Maybe there's someone on your team that specializes with relocations with a specific company. The other ideas, you could use Facebook Marketplace, apartments.com, booking.com, avail.co, Craigslist, my website. Our marketplace is only for people with like many properties. There's corporate housing by owner, MLS, furnished find, like there's a lot of places to put it. But no one's doing the brand strategy that I am. But there's so much more business out there. So in the top, we talked about the insurance housing, right? So you can take a photo of this. These are where on the top part, you can put your properties in the insurance housing databases. But on the bottom, those are relocation companies. These guys only work with businesses. Okay, it's a totally different side of the business that we are just breaking into. My company as a brand, Hestia, just got accepted into the supply chain of the Square. And the Square has like 20,000 corporate units all over the world. And they're just coming back into the US now. We just got accepted to the supply chain yesterday. But corporate housing is a different beast because there's much, much higher standards than what the insurance client has. Okay, so that is going to be an interesting space for us to grow into. And I can share more on that later on as we continue to develop Hestia into that space. But, you alone as a single operator won't be able to break into the corporate housing space, but they pay just as much for inventory as in the insurance companies. Like a 1-bedroom in Austin, Texas is $180 a night. Okay, multiply that by a 30-day stay, 90-day stay. There's even 5-year leases. Okay, that could be very lucrative. But the corporate housing companies, that's reserved for the best of the best. So in 2023, I was able to really, really love my life and do the things that I love to do now that I was free from my corporate life. And I was able to put my kids in skating competitions. I was able to do a lot of traveling, snowboarding, I went to Vietnam, and now I'm able to live my best life because I've invested in midterm rentals and I've invested in learning more about this business. And now I want to teach all of you the same strategy. So why is this a strategy important for you as a realtor? It's because I want you guys to be able to speak intelligently on this topic. Okay. I have a friend of mine, Ruben. He lives in Atlanta. He's a realtor. He specializes in midterm rentals. Last year alone, he generated $3 million in leads because he's a realtor that specializes in midterm rentals. Okay. For another friend of mine, Mel Volland, because she specializes in midterm rentals, she also got almost $3 million in leads last year. I wasn't even a realtor until last summer, but I got $6 million in, when I'm talking these millions of dollars in leads, they are converted leads, actual closes. I gave my husband $6 million in leads. If you would like to add millions of dollars of convertible leads in your business as a realtor, drop me a 3 in the chat. My hair loss didn't happen to me, it happened for me. I really, really want everybody to do a great job. Here's what I want you to do. I want you guys to sign up as an affiliate. When you sign up as an affiliate, I'm going to send you a fast track course for realtors that's absolutely free. Okay. This fast track course is going to teach you everything you need to know as a realtor to speak intelligently about what midterm rentals are. That way, when you have a client that's looking for one, you can be their source. So Ruben, the guy in Atlanta, he said 1/4 of those leads that he got from midterm rentals came from other agents that could not speak about midterm rentals. How would you like to position yourself as a midterm rental specialist so those leads can you can attract those leads to you? If that sounds awesome, drop me a 5 in the chat. So for you to be an affiliate, you get that free fast track course. It's going to be, I think it's about 45 minutes to an hour long. You can listen to it on your way to work, while you're in the bathtub drinking a glass of wine, whatever it is, right? It's going to be very, very digestible. I'm giving you the fast track. And after that, if you have a client that says, okay, I'm buying a midterm rental, but now how do I operate it? How do I attract the insurance guests? How do I handle calendars? How do I decorate? How do I furnish? I have a course for that. And that course is $197. But because you signed up as an affiliate, every time you sell that course, you can make $100 for that. If that sounds awesome, drop me a 6 in the chat. Okay, so I want to make this easy for you to make a little bit of money just from educating your client. So if you love this presentation, please give me a session feedback. I would love to hear from you, and I hope to see you guys at the Epic conference in Las Vegas on April 24th.
And Vivian, I wanted to say something. So for the people that came in a little bit later, like this is such an incredible strategy to be able to share with your clients. Because if you think about it, interest rates are so much higher than they have been, right, in the last couple of years. And I was actually able to use this strategy with one of my clients that wanted to purchase a rental property. Gosh, she paid like 8% interest because she used a non qualifying loan and or non-conforming loan, sorry. And anyway, she was able to get someone to come in and rent her property that she's probably, if she were just to rent it traditionally, it would maybe go for $2,300. She's getting $4,500 a month on it right now.
Yep.
And she's not even doing the insurance route. She just happened to have someone that wants to come in that's traveling that needs a place to stay for longer term. They need something for like 45 days. And the minimum, she purchased new construction, and that, the minimum was a 30-day rental. And she was like, crap, I can't do short-term rentals here. What am I going to do? And then she had this opportunity. Otherwise, she was going to have to sell the property because the interest rate was just too high. But I mean, this is something that we can use to really help our clients and to really pivot our businesses and not only invest ourselves into something like this, because I'm sure a lot of you find this pretty interesting, like to be able to purchase a property and to make that kind of income every month.
With less work.
Also something that you can pitch to all of your clients to help them build their wealth too, right? And I mean, I'm seeing it even in this economic climate right now. So I think it's awesome, and especially like places, you know, I'm here in Florida and we have so many short-term rentals and there's so many rules that are coming up around the short-term rentals. And like you mentioned in the beginning of the call, there's just people are jumping out of it, but now we have all these people with short-term rentals and all this furniture in their house and they don't know what to do. So
Right.
isn't that a good niche to dive into, right? Hey, I can show you a way where you can actually keep this home and make even more money than you were with the short-term rental.
You know,
If I can even buy
everybody,
another one, you know?
yeah, a lot of people are like, well, I can make more money with short-term rentals, but I'm like, can you? People forget how much effort and how much time it takes to run a short-term rental. Time is something that we take for granted. It's time that is something you can't get back. The time you spent to go to the store at very last minute to get toilet paper for the next guest, that's time. Wouldn't you rather be doing something else? In a midterm rental space, the guest replenishes their own stuff.
And then with the insurance aspect, I mean, that's just brilliant. That's just guaranteed.
And you know, the top three places for insurance housing is Texas, Florida, California, and Louisiana.
All
I would
represented in
love,
this room.
yep, and I would love to open up the floor for questions. Does anybody have any questions?
I do.
Please
have
go
a
ahead.
Go ahead. Who had a question?
I
Go
do.
ahead. Oh, go
Debbie.
ahead.
Hey, I came in towards the end, but what I heard you say is they have to have a track record. They have to qualify. They have to have a track record for VRBO or right?
No. Well, for my brand, yes. For my
For your
brand.
brand.
Yeah.
But for straight up corporate rentals, they don't. So we could tell clients invest in this property and we're going to get you listed for a corporate rental.
So I want to make sure I address this appropriately. Let me just show you that deck again with the brands. Okay, so this right here on the top portion, right? Anybody can be serving these clients. It's not necessarily easy and it's also very high touch, but they don't have a brand standard. Okay. However, when you go into the corporate housing companies, the ones that are relocating the Google executives, the Microsoft executives, all, you know, those guys, there is a very, very strict brand standard. And that is who Hestia is going after alongside with the insurance housing request. That's why Hestia, my brand, we have a brand standard because we want to be able to fit into this space. Does that make sense, Debbie?
Well, kind of, except if I'm going to be so qualified to tell someone, buy this house, I'm going to get you listed here. I mean, what's the rigmarole? How long does it take to get that corporate housing? I mean, there's really no.
Yeah, so the best place to get it right now is Airbnb. There's a lot of people that do Airbnbs. If you look at there's a company called InsideAirbnb.com. If you look at Austin, Texas, for instance, they'll tell you how many Airbnb listings are in there, and they'll tell you what percentage are operating as 30-day stays and more. That way you can see, like, is there a lot of competition? In Austin, there's less than 12%. So to me, that's a great space to be in because it's not saturated. So you could still, you could do a corporate rental if you want to call it as such, a 30-day stay on Airbnb, no problem. There's no standards there. But to be part of Hestia.
Yeah, but this whole thing is about midterm rentals. So just so you have your language right, we're talking really, this is about midterm rentals, which is a minimum 30-day stay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just, it would be hard to present to an investor like, okay, we're going to do this and then do this. I mean, they've got to take steps. They've got to have that track record, right? With the other.
No, you don't need that. You'll probably do just fine in spaces like Airbnb, Verbo, and the insurance housing companies.
Okay.
Jennifer, I know all the people in Orlando that do all the stuff for Blue Origin and SpaceX and stuff. Most of their housing, like out here, I help them with a lot of stuff for monthlies and whatnot, but I can get you connected to them for Orlando because they have a lot of inventory out there and probably want to add to that. They do a bunch.
Amazing.
Thank you, Kate.
Any more questions?
No, but I'm excited to meet Vivian at our convention.
We all are.
Yep.
I'm so excited to go. I can't wait.
It will be fun. We are all very excited.
Where is it at again? Remind me.
Where? It's
Yeah.
in Vegas at the Red Rock Casino and Resort.
Okay. I knew it was Las Vegas, but
Oh.
and I'm speaking on the 24th. So yep, it's in my calendar. I just need to know what the casino's at. Perfect.
Yep. Awesome. Well, we will see you there. And if anyone has any questions before then, just let one of us know and we will catch you all on the inside.
And feel free to join my Facebook group, Midterm Rental Wealth. You will not be let in unless you drop your email, and that's just to prevent spammers and stuff like that. So
Did you share that in the chat? Because I would love to go to that. Can you,
Midterm Rental Wealth, yep.
or I'll write it down. I'll just forget it and then not be able to find it. Is it on your Facebook page somewhere?
It's right there on the screen on the bottom
Oh.
left-hand corner.
Oh, right there. Okay, awesome.
Yep.
Perfect.
You'll see my big bald head in the search.
You're beautiful, big bald head. You are beautiful inside and out. Thank you so much for sharing with us, and we cannot wait to meet you.
Awesome. You guys have a great afternoon.
Bye,
I'll
everyone.
catch you in
Thanks for coming.
Vegas. Bye.
Thank
Thank you. See you there.